Good, happy Sunday morning. It's Sunday, April 14, 2024. I'm Riley King, and welcome to WRMK News 12 Morning Newscast on this Sunday. We have a lot of news to get to this morning, so let's get started right now. First up, Jewish Federation of New Hampshire UNH professor reacts to Iran airstrike towards Israel. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
The IRS deadline is here. Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Roughly Iran launching its first direct military attack towards Israel after an airstrike earlier in the week destroyed the country's consulate in Syria. That airstrike killing 12 people, including 2 elite Iranian generals. Representatives of New Hampshire's Jewish community say they weren't surprised to hear about the launch of dozens of drones and ballistic missiles.
My hope is that all of them will be shot down.
Tracy Richmond says the Jewish Federation of New Hampshire is aware of the escalating move by Iran. She says she and her team are closely monitoring the attacks and checking in with their loved ones in Israel. U.S. forces striking down several drones headed towards Israel, but some local experts say Iran likely doesn't see that response as a threat.
So I don't think so much that the Iranians that a rational Iranian analysis is they're about to be attacked by the United States, but of course it fits their narrative that the United States is coming to the defense of Israel, a country which they think has no legitimacy.
And for any Granite Staters feeling uneasy and in search of community right now,
always reach out to Federation, especially if it's anyone in the Jewish community that has felt any anti-Semitism or is just concerned and needs support. We're statewide, and that's what we're here for.
And we are hearing from Governor Sununu tonight, as well as several New Hampshire congressmen who are all expressing their support for Israel. In the studio, Imani Fleming, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Families in transition president prepares for second Boston Marathon run. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
As you may have heard, WMUR and Sean McDonald are partnering with Families in Transition for this race, and we happen to run into the president of that organization today at the finish line, Maria Devlin. She's running her second Boston Marathon.
I'm so excited. MUR helped raise over $55,000 for us, so it's really going to go a long way in Manchester, New Hampshire.
And there's still time to donate to support Families in Transition. So far, you've generously raised more than $56,000. If you'd like to donate, visit WMUR.com/marathon fundraiser. And that's it from Boston. The night before the Boston Marathon. Can't wait for this big race Monday morning, which you can watch live right here on WMUR. In Boston, Jamie Staten, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. The big race on Monday. One more day. Windham runner among thousands ready to run the Boston Marathon. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
Jamie, that was awesome, and you said it. There are people here from all over the world, and it's a lot quieter here than it was earlier this afternoon, but we're still seeing people coming over to take pictures with this iconic finish line, which of course represents different things for different people, and we did have the opportunity to hear some of their stories today. Less than 2 days until the 128th Boston Marathon, and Boylston Street is already buzzing. This morning, thousands got a taste of crossing the finish line in a handful of Saturday morning races, including middle schoolers, milers, and Red Sox managers.
This city means so much for us. us and the vibe. Sometimes we take it for granted, you know?
But the fun didn't stop there. Runners and their loved ones flocked to the finish line all day to take photos and soak it all in. We spoke with newcomers like Alex Bott from Michigan, running her first Boston Marathon in memory of her father.
My dad ran it when I was a little girl, and I was inspired by him early on. So ever since then, it's always been a dream of mine to come and run this race.
And Sam Cody from Hopkinton, Mass, who says it's their first time running, but they're no stranger to the course.
It starts right near my house, really close to the starting line, so I've grown up around the marathon.
We also ran into some marathon vets. 30-year-old Corey Campbell from Windham is running his 9th Boston Marathon this year. Campbell says he was inspired to start training after witnessing the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013.
I'm running for my family. I was here during the bombing. It's super important and powerful for me to be here. I was just a spectator, but I've run every year that I could since.
Joan Benoit Samuelson is a running legend, the first woman to win an Olympic gold medal in the marathon, and 2-time Boston Marathon champion, shared some wisdom on Boylston Street. Her advice to Granite Staters:
live free or die. Not really. Just trust yourself, have faith in your training, and enjoy the journey here from Hopkinton to Boston.
Truly great advice from a legend right there, and the festivities continue tomorrow, of course, before the marathon on Monday. We're live from the finish line. Hannah Cotter, WMUR.
Okay, and there you go. A lot of excitement over there at the finish line in Boston. And also, Golden Olivia Branch presented from the Greek community to the Boston Marathon. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
A decades-long tradition happened this week ahead of Marathon Monday. The Greek Consulate of Boston and the Alpha Omega Council presented 4 olive branch wreaths to the Boston Athletic Association. Those wreaths will crown the winners of Monday's marathon, and I was honored to MC the event.
When you think of the Boston Marathon, olive branches and Greek history may not be the first thing to come to mind.
The 30,000 people that are going to run on Monday understand the linkage back to ancient Greece.
But for 40 years before runners toe the start line, the Alpha Omega Council and the Greek Consulate of Boston have worked to remind runners about the history of the marathon.
So these reminders are just a way of connecting current-day marathoners with really the history of the sport.
Each year, 4 wreaths, hand-picked in the fields of Marathon, Greece, and painted in gold, are presented to the Boston Athletic Association to crown the winners of the marathon.
The marathon represents our fight for freedom, our fight for democracy. The Battle of Marathon, the Boston Marathon taking place on Patriots Day, it's very symbolic. It will unite Boston and Greece in the same way.
Those wreaths representing that first marathon, run by Pheidippides thousands of years ago, a symbol that organizers hope will bring communities together across New England.
It adds an element of unity, an element of determination that marries what the marathon runner does, what the city of Boston does, and what the people of Greece do. Working together to work through a struggle, the struggle of running the marathon and achieving a goal.
Now, the wreaths were also offered in the name of Stylianos Kyriakides, a Greek man who won the Boston Marathon in 1946 and was the marathon's first charity runner.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Iran launches drone towards Israel. Let's take a listen to that report from CBS Evening News.
A major new escalation in the Middle East. Tonight, air raid sirens blared in Jerusalem and other cities after Iran sent over 200 drones and missiles toward Israel. The aerial attack follows follows a deadly airstrike on April 1st on the Iranian embassy complex in Damascus, Syria. The United States has been helping Israel tonight, shooting down some drones. An Israeli military spokesperson called Iran's actions a severe and dangerous escalation. At least one casualty is reported. Earlier, President Biden rushed back to the White House from Delaware, meeting with national security advisors. There is significant concern that this could widen the ongoing Israel-Gaza war to more of the Middle East. CBS's Deborah Pata is in Tel Aviv with the latest. Deborah, good evening.
Good evening. Iran has launched its retaliatory attack, sending a swarm of drones towards Israel. Israel has deployed all of its air defense systems, closed its airspace, and the War Cabinet has convened to monitor the situation. The attack could take several hours to unfold. The past 2 days have seen heightened tensions in the region in the run-up to the attack, with fears that this could spiral into a regional conflict.
Iran seized a Portuguese container ship linked to an Israeli billionaire today. Iranian Revolutionary Guards boarded the vessel from a helicopter in the Strait of Hormuz. Previously, Iran has threatened to shut down this crucial shipping route. And this morning, the Israeli Defense Force struck a Hezbollah military post in southern Lebanon after the Iranian-backed group fired a barrage of missiles over northern Israel last night. Most of the missiles were intercepted. There were no injuries. We've been preparing for an attack from Iran for years, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said earlier. We are ready for any scenario. The big fear now is that this could significantly escalate the conflict, former Mossad official Sima Shine told us.
Is this the most worried you've been?
Yeah, I think this is the most worried. I think it's on both sides, in Israel and in Iran. At the end of the day, no one wants a full-scale regional war.
Not even the threat of an attack by Iran could keep Israelis off the streets of Tel Aviv earlier tonight. Tens of thousands turned out to protest against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Many demonstrators believe he will do anything to stay in power, including prolonging the war in Gaza and escalating a confrontation with Iran.
I think he failed. He should go home.
Sunday is the start of the work week in Israel. All schools have been closed for the next 2 days. Gatherings in the north have been prohibited, and Uyghur people have been advised to stay near shelters.
Deborah Pata, thanks.
Can't go? Do this to clear out stuck poop fast. On June 17th in 2019, my mom was...
Okay, and there you go on that report. That does it for this Sunday morning edition of WRMK Morning Newscast. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Have a great day, and goodbye.